TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Anyway, where are we?
We're talking about you going up to Canada and teaming up with
Leduc.
Yes. There's a lot of other guys that I want to talk about that you came cross paths with. A young Bobby Heenan. Memories of Bobby Heenan.
One of my favorite guys, it turns out. Bobby and I, after I'd wrestled in Quebec and actually became the Baron, then the original Sheik, I call him original because he's the only Sheik, first Sheik I ever knew, was Eddie Farhat, who ran Michigan and Ohio and parts of this and that and the other. Anyway, he saw me and he asked me to come to work for him, so I did after Quebec, Canada.
What are your early memories of superstar Billy Graham?
Billy, just he was so impressive as a physical specimen. You know, he just he had a saying, better bodies by chemicals or something. But he was very open about his how he got there. But anyway, he was a good guy, happy-go-lucky guy, and he complained about the way Wahoo used to smack him till he was black and blue. Bow! Pow! And he'd come back, because his pecs were all black and blue. But he was a good guy. I mean, he is a good guy. He's still alive. And I remember the days with John Cunningham watching TV on Saturdays and crazy Luke Graham or Jerry Graham, crazy Jerry Graham, and all that stuff. And I thought, well, maybe I'll call Joe Dusick. So I did. I called Joe Dusick, and he said, well, if you come down to the TV station, so-and-so, I was back home living with my folks. So I went to the station, and I said, I went there, and sure enough, he was true to his word. He introduced me to Vern Gagne, who was there, and they had a crew coming down from Minneapolis to work the Omaha part of that they were like partners, Joe and Vern Gagne and Wally Carbo. They were partners, and whatever, I didn't know how the business part of it worked. Anyway, he introduced me to Verne Gagne, so Vern said, well, I'll be happy to break you into the business. I know of your record and accomplishments and stuff, and this, that, and the other. And so my younger brother had a nice car that could make it to Minneapolis, and Vern lived in Minneapolis, of course, so I had to drive from Omaha to Minneapolis, and I brought my little brother's car, Arts, and I drove up to Minneapolis, and I got to the wrestling office, found my way to the wrestling office at the Dykeman Hotel, met Wally Carbo and Joe Casisto, the office assistant, but Vern had been sick, so he wasn't there, and then they suggested I check into a motel and come back and check with him, and after about 4 weeks, Vern finally was well enough to start training me, and by then I'd moved in with a buddy of mine from the Army, Charlie Coffey, and another friend, Tom Lampy, and his friend Tom Lampy, and now my friend. So anyway, I started to work out with Vern at his farm and in his on his ring, and he started to show me the basics of wrestling. Of course, we did a lot of extensive training, push-ups, set-ups, running and chopping wood and jumping jacks and all that stuff. And finally, after 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, whatever it was, he said, this is the way it is with professional wrestling. And he told me a little bit about what professional wrestling was all about. And he says, I'm going to take you to a match. And there was an outdoor match at the St. Paul baseball park, and he drove me over there. I met him, and he drove me over there. And on the main event was 2 guys. I didn't really know them, but they were famous, of course. One was Dark Crusher. The other was Mad Dog Vachon. And they got in the ring. I'd watch all the other matches, of course. And they were all great performers, great in the ring, everybody. But they got in the ring, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was agog at watching these guys up close, in person, in one of the front rows of the deal. And I thought, geez, I don't know if I could do that or not. Before on TV, I thought, well, I could do that. But now I thought, no, I don't know. These guys are pretty serious. Anyway, after that experience, I went back and I learned some more. He did some more stuff with me. Finally, he said, well, we'll have you set up the wrestling ring. You can referee, and you can learn the business that way. So I had a job of setting up, tearing down the ring every night in different places, traveling, driving by myself, tearing down the ring, setting it up, blah, blah, blah. Of course, you set it up before you tore it down. I said that backwards, but I did that for a long time, refereed all the matches. There were always 4 or 5, maybe 10 matches on a card. Maybe I did them all, or maybe I did some of them, but it doesn't matter. But I got a lot of experience inside the ring, just the timing and stuff, whatever happens. And after a while, he says, okay, I think you're ready. And he booked me in a match, and I worked with a guy named Johnny Case from Chicago. And Johnny Case was this old pro. And man, we went out there and we tore the house down. Him with me, a rookie who didn't know anything, and he just said to me, listen to me, kid. Excuse me. I'll have some Coca-Cola. He said, listen to me, kid. And I said, so I did. Of course, I just wanted to learn anyway. And we went through this match, and the people all bought it. They thought it was great. And, everybody, it was wonderful. And I left the ring thinking, hey, I'm pretty good. Well, then the next match I had, that was in Minneapolis. The next match I had was in Milwaukee. And that was with Billy Red Cloud, also an excellent worker, an old timer. Billy Red Cloud was a Native American, and he had blue eyes, but he was really an American Indian, Native American, and wonderful guy and everything. And he says, okay, just follow me. Kind of like Johnny had done, and they were just very gentle with me. And he took me through the ropes and boom, boom, boom. And it worked out great. I thought, gee, this isn't so bad. And I went back, and everybody said, oh, great match, good match, good match. And I thought, I did it again. Wonderful, I'm wonderful. So then the third match I had was with a guy named Juan Zendejas, sometimes called. And he was a little more experienced than I was. Of course, everybody was. But not much more. And he knew that we were going to wrestle, so he said, I'll meet you at the gym on Fifth Avenue in Minneapolis, 5th and Hennepin, and we'll talk about what we're going to do. I said, well, really? Because I never did that with the other guys. So he and I got together, and he said, we'll do this and this and this and this at this time, and we'll do this and this and this and this and this and this and this. So I left thinking I knew what he wanted to do, but completely bewildered. Because I never understood this. Anyway, and the match was in Minneapolis again. And the first 2 matches Vern hadn't seen, but he was there that night. So he was watching me, and Juan and I went out there, and we did this, and we did that, and we did it according to the plan. And I know everybody thinks that all wrestling is planned, but it's not, trust me. We did it according to the plan, and it was a horrible, horrible match. And Vern, I came out of there and thinking, I didn't have a real good feeling about it, but I think, it couldn't be that bad. And Vern said, kid, you're still as green as grass. You got a lot to learn.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.